Welcome to the Serious Problem Podcast. I'm Ben, who's a special guest today. Julian Jackson, he does solar panel work, so it'll be interesting to kind of hear about that today. So how did you get into the solar panels?
Wow, that's an interesting story. First off, Ben, thanks for having me on the podcast. Super cool. We met through cigars.
Yep.
And so this is kind of like a full circle moment, so happy to be on here.
Pretty much.
But yeah, my name is Julian Jackson. I've been in the solar panel business since 2018.
Okay.
And it was actually really interesting how I got into it, Ben. I got a phone call the same week my son was born. He was in the NICU, and it was from my aunt and uncle. And this is the same aunt and uncle that I lived in their basement whenever I first moved to Columbus in 2015. And I was 19 years old, didn't have nothing. I moved here literally off a whim. And so the same aunt and uncle that was living in their basement, they called me, and they said, "Hey, we just made an investment into solar panels, and we're super excited."
Okay.
And I was like, "What?" You know, these guys are on the verge of a divorce. They're divorced today.
Okay.
You know, and so during that time, it was like the worst era. You know, it was the worst time in their marriage.
And they just dove in.
And they dove in on solar panels, and so that was very, very interesting to me. And my uncle was like, "Hey man, listen, this guy's in our living room right now. He told us that you can do nothing and you can make 80 grand a year."
That's pretty good.
I was like, "That's pretty good. That's more than what I'm making right now." So let me take a look and see. But you know, it also sounded a little unrealistic because at the time I was doing life insurance and I was working an obscene amount of hours. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I kind of sucked. I actually really sucked at life insurance, but I wasn't making 80 grand. So I was a little skeptical, but my aunt, she works for United Healthcare, higher level position in United Healthcare. And so I value her opinion a lot. It's because she's done really well in her career. And so she said, "Julian, listen, this is an up and coming industry. Mm-hmm. You should really take a look at it, like a serious look at it. And, you know, if it doesn't work out, you can always just go back to insurance." And I was like, "Well, you know, that's fair." So I took the leap, man. I took the leap. It was a company that was scaling. Okay. And at the time, I think that they were in like 3 states and they did like a couple $1 million in business. And by the time that I left, they hit $1 billion.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I was actually able to be a part of that growth as a leader in that company. And then once that company was no longer operating, I then started my own business.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So you started doing solar panels then with another company. Mm-hmm. Moved over to your own.
Mm-hmm. Which my suggestion for, you know, anyone that's 19, 20, 21 that's watching this podcast and you're not really sure what to do, look at a company that is in a industry that's going up, right? And find a company that is scaling, that you can generally see the scaling, and go in there and learn. Like the things that I learned from a sales perspective, but more importantly from a leadership perspective, I couldn't pay for that experience, Ben.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm somebody that didn't go to college formally for a large duration of time. I was in college for 1 semester. And then it was kind of like a got kicked out / I dropped out. Yeah. You know, it's kind of like a mutual agreement between the dean and I. But, you know, for me not to have any true, you know, collegiate background, that leadership experience that I was able to get hands-on, that management experience, that problem solving, like real time, while also being able to make a lot of money while doing it. I mean, it's a no-brainer for anybody that's just kind of lost, stuck, and trying to figure it out. And has aspirations of doing their own thing. The best thing to do is to get into a company and not get into a mindset of this is where I'm going to die, but this is where I'm going to start, right? Okay. And I'm going to get the skill sets, the necessary skill sets and relationships so that whenever it's time for me to do my thing, I'm ready to roll.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you recommend starting in a company to get some leadership, kind of grow from there?
Get some experience. Get some experience managing people. get some experience managing people. So what I did was I went in and I started as a sales rep, and I did that for about 3 months.
Okay.
I hit the top of sales in the company within a matter of 3 months. And then I had an opportunity to take on a leadership role. And for the next 4 years, all I did was produce other leaders and other high level salespeople. So I literally had an experience being able to have a guy, his name is Ahmad. Ahmad came into my office one day, freshly divorced. He moved here from Georgia. And Ahmad literally was dead broke. Like, the suit that he was wearing was the only outfit that he had. And within a matter of 9 months, he already made 6 figures.
So it's like quick turnaround.
Quick
Yeah.
turnaround.
Now, how are you doing most of your sales then? Was it over the phone? You going door to door? Were you running ads on Google, Facebook?
During that time, that was at a time where there was no ads on the internet with solar. So that company positioned themselves really as an anomaly because there was nothing. Now today, I mean, you see them every single day, right? But during that time, they were in markets where there was no solar companies at all, because solar traditionally is like on the West Coast or like Florida, right? But they went into markets like Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, South Carolina, and they were spending roughly about $4 or $5 million a month on advertising.
Okay.
So they became omnipresent. I mean, everywhere you turned and looked, you saw a commercial for that company. And they had their cars wrapped. There was company cars, and so every single car was wrapped. And so I'll be at church and things like that, and they'd be like, yeah, I saw your company car. Like, I was on the way to Kroger, and I saw your company car. And so that was the marketing strategy for that company that I worked for. So once it was time for me to start my own company, the ad space was just kind of like obsolete, right?
Yeah.
Because in order to compete, especially like with a 2024 year, an election year, it's going to take big money. You know what I'm saying? To really be seen on a consistent basis. I'm talking about 6 figures plus every single month, you know, to do that. And to be honest, I didn't have that type of capital to put into marketing to get started. And so what we started with was, number one, with our warm market. Friends, family who we never really felt comfortable with for that prior company. You know, once we did it ourselves, it's like, all right, we can call our mom now. We can call our brother now and get him some solar panels, or some of our friends. And then from there, we went through like just referrals from those people. And then we started working on referral partners. So we thought about, you know, how do we make sure that we keep the bottom line of the business and protect the bottom line of the business for highest margins possible. And that is literally just working through a network of people that already have our customers, right? So like, if I knew you at the time, I'll be talking to Ben. Like, Ben, listen, you have new homeowners every single day that have beautiful homes. They have, you know, disposable cash. They probably want to save some money. Like, how about we partner up? And for every single person you throw me, I'll give you $500. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was kind of like the deal that we'll set up with referral partners. So landscaping guys, insurance guys, window guys, pest guys. Like, that was kind of the way that we went about it. And then we also mixed in some door to door as well. So literally hitting the door, going in the neighborhood, canvassing the neighborhood, being in there, getting your head beat in, you know, 6 to 8 hours every single day, and you know, creating a business out of that format as well. So yeah, man, we've done it all.
What made you want to go from working for a company to jumping and starting your own?
Well, I think the spirit of entrepreneurship has been in my life pretty much since my whole life. Right, my dad, barber, so he's always kind of worked for himself, had barbershops, etc. My grandfather, he was an entrepreneur, had multiple businesses, and so I think between that and also pop culture, like, I never really wanted a boss. And I remember being in middle school, and I went down this deep rabbit hole. I literally was, I had a parent-teacher conference, and middle school, and the teacher was like, you know, you're not taking your testing seriously. He just plays around, and you know, this is about standardized testing. And so my middle school year old brain's like, what is this standardized testing? Where did all this come from? So I literally go on Google and I'm like, how was the standard education system created?
Yeah.
And I literally dove into that for the next couple of days, and I found out that like the Rothschilds and the Vanderbilts and all these builders of America, they literally put together the system to be able to create factory workers. They wanted to have you on the standardized system so that you can go from school straight through their ecosystem, and they will be able to have you for the rest of their life. Think about it. Yeah. When we were going to school, what time did you have to be at school?
You'd be there early, like 7.
Like 7 o'clock,
yeah.
Right? And then you had like a breakfast, right?
Yeah.
And then you had like your first class, and then second class, and then what came after that?
Yeah, it was like free.
A little free period.
I was homeschooled, so
okay.
I don't know. Like,
okay.
I understand the school part. Like,
yeah, it's like a free period, right?
Yeah,
like a recess.
Like a break.
Like a break, right? 15 minutes, right? Yeah. And then you get back to school, and then you do some more work, and then you get a lunch. Lunch is like 45 minutes. And then you go back to class, and then you get another break. And then you go back to class, and you get out of there for the day. If you look at that structure, and then you look at the structure of corporate America, what's different?
It's just a little bit longer.
It's just a little bit longer, right? And so that's literally what they created. And so whenever I was in middle school, I'm like, the way that correlated in my brain, I don't want to be a factory worker, Ben.
Yeah.
You know, let me go out there and figure out a way to build a business. And so that's where that spirit of entrepreneurship came from.
I guess it's kind of always been there a little, just in the background.
It's always been there. I never knew exactly what it was going to be for me. Or how it was going to work out. I just always knew I wanted to create something that would really create a legacy for my last name. You know, you look at McDonald's, you look at Walmart, you look at Hilton. I mean, these are all last names. And so I had to think about, what do I want to leave as far as my legacy for my last name?
Definitely.
Yeah, man.
So when it comes down to the solar panels, are you selling, you installing, are you doing everything, or are you just selling?
So the business model that we have is we bring in the business, we control the marketing, we bring in the business, we sell the business, and then we have strategic partners for the installation of the actual business itself. Okay. So we don't own the operational side, we own the front end side.
So you're getting all these people who are ready to buy.
Right.
And you give them to the installers?
We sell them.
You sell them, but then you give it
and then we say, hey, this is our client, partner, in which, we feel most confident and getting this install done. This is who we're going to roll with.
Yeah, well, that's kind of similar to how we use subcontractors.
Yeah,
essentially what it is. Just little things here and there to maybe install a patio. We use this guy to build a patio for us and this guy to do that. On a full, so how does someone know they want to get like when you get solar panels, is it really better than just having an electric bill?
It's always going to be better than having an electric bill.
Okay.
Because if you think about it, you own your house, right?
Yeah.
You own your cars, right? You don't have any more student loan debt. You own pretty much everything in your life, right? So what is the one bill that's going to always continue to show up no matter what if you don't take control of it?
It's that electric bill.
It's that electric bill. For someone that owns everything in their life, does that make sense to you?
Definitely does.
It makes sense to have an electric bill every month?
No, it makes sense not to have an electric bill.
It makes sense not to. And so when you think about it from that standpoint, it's just like, why do I not have control over this piece of my life? That's whenever it's like, yeah, the solar makes sense. Now, from a financial standpoint, does it mean it's going to be cheaper? No. It doesn't mean it's going to be cheaper than, your traditional electric. However, it's going to be able to give you the control of your electric, right? Because, with electric, you're literally paying for the last month, right? Every single month you're paying for the last month. So if you don't pay that last month, what's going to happen? you can get shut off,
Yep.
right? With solar, you have the control. If you have your own backup, like the Amish, right?
Yeah.
Nobody can do nothing to them.
No.
You know, they control their entire life, and so that's like one of the biggest values of being able to have solar.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are there solar systems? Are they able to support? Let's say someone purchases they bought a system for the house, but then they purchase an electric car. Like
Okay.
you need to add on to your system, or
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you set up your solar system to be able to, let's call it offset
Yeah.
your current electric usage, anytime that you add more usage to whatever was originally offset, it's going to take more power
Yeah.
to be able to get that done. So whether that's adding an electric vehicle or adding a pool or mother-in-law suite or whatever, you know, you're going to need to be able to create more power for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When the install is happening, will you stop by and kind of check it out, or you kind of know like your guys have got it and then you guys
Man,
are
I love to go out the day of install because number one, it's very good for content.
Okay.
It's very good for social media, putting yourself out there, showing the world that, hey, man, we're working, we're in business, you know, things are looking good. It shows that to your client that you actually give, you know, a crap about how the install is going, what it's going to actually look like for them, make sure things are smooth. And then also it's a camaraderie builder for the installers, right? Like
Yep.
everyone loves great partnership. And so if I go out there and I'm bringing donuts in the morning and coffee and, you know, that's just going to raise the morale of the install. The guys are going to be excited. They're going to work a little bit faster. They're going to be a little bit happier. And I come back around lunchtime and give them some pizza and we're talking and I'm getting to know them and they're getting to know me. They have a vested interest in making sure that job is done a lot better versus me being a guy that never shows up. They don't know who I am. They don't know me from a can of paint, you know, but whenever they see my name go through that line item and it's our company, they're like, all right, guys, let's go. Let's do this because we know he's going to look out.
How are you finding your installers? Are they these guys have already been trained, or are you training these guys and then you're sending them out?
Really, it's just relationships that have been built over the last few years. Luckily, in this market, I know everybody. You know, I know everybody in this market, and so when it comes to ideal installers, a lot of the times, whenever there's installers, national installers that are looking to come into Ohio, you know, they're calling me. You know, so I kind of have a little bit of a slight advantage when it comes to installs, but I'm not responsible for hiring them, training them, etc. That's really up to the installation company to get that done. But my job is to make sure that we have the sales force that is best, you know, suited to make sure that, you know, sales are coming in, because, you know, you can have the greatest install team, but if you're not getting in sales, like that install team ain't gonna eat, right? And vice versa, right? If you have the greatest sales team, but you have poor installs, you can bring in all this business, but if the glass is not getting installed on the roof, the sales team is going to starve. And so it takes a really great balance, and it takes like a really great relationship between the sales company and the install company to really be able to have those synergies that are necessary to be great.
How big is your current sales force?
Current sales force is roughly about 20 people.
Okay, is that just handles Columbus, or is it handling other states?
We really just focus on Ohio.
Okay, so 20 people roughly covers Ohio?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, man. And when we started, we went very big, very fast, and we found out really quickly that it's not the route that we probably want to go for scalable growth.
Yep.
And it's really just like you can't manage it all, right? If we started off in Kentucky, Pennsylvania, Ohio, North Carolina, and when we do that, it's just like there's so many different jurisdictions, so many different AHJs, so many different permitting processes, so many different installers. I mean, it's a lot to keep up with.
Yeah.
And, you know, you got to really pay attention to everything because this is a construction job at the end of the day, right? Like somebody's getting on your roof and they got drills, you know what I'm saying? Like there's drawings, like this is serious stuff. And so if you're not able to have a close eye on everything that's going on, and being able to just drive and show up to ensure quality insurance, it could be a little bit scary to do business that way,
Okay.
especially just starting off. So what we did was to take the reverse approach. It was like, hey, let's get out of all these markets, right? Let's double down. Let's get in the community. Let people know who we are. You know, let's get local talent. Let's get local salespeople. Like, let's grow this thing here, and like really get it sweet, so that once it's time to now scale a little bit, then we can take the same blueprint and then we can take our experience and our leverage and we can go into another market and we do the exact same thing there. You know what I mean? Versus just trying to spread ourselves thin and go nowhere fast.
How much is each sales guy expected to bring in or close? Would I say how do you do quarterly? Do you like you kind of look over yearly, monthly?
Yeah, so in an environment like this, it's just like it's almost like everybody is their own independent solar broker, right? So
Yep.
they can do whatever they want.
Okay.
You know, I'm nobody's boss.
Yeah.
I'm their partner, right? I'm a success partner. I want to ensure them that they have the tools and that they have the resources and they have the support to be able to get whatever it is done. I mean, some people they'll do it part time. They sell a couple deals a month. They're happy with that. Like a couple deals a month is a few grand, right? There's other people that are like, I want to make 250K. I want to make 500K. You know, and that's a totally different conversation than the person that is a couple deals a month. And so our biggest thing is we meet people where they are, and we give them support that's needed for where they want to go. And so with that process, when you come into our business, we have a really like a roadmap. You know, in the very beginning, we like let's map this thing out. What do you want? You know, and what are you committed to as far as the time and effort and energy that's going to be put into this business, right? Like if you're only going to give me 5 hours, but you're saying that you want to make 10K or 10K a week, come on, man. What are we talking about here?
Yeah.
Like, in what business can you do that with little to no experience? Like none, right?
Pretty much. There's nothing out there.
There's nothing out there, right? And so like we want to have realistic conversation. If you're willing to do this thing for 8 to 10 hours a day and you want to make 10K a week, okay, we can do that. That's attainable. But it's a part of that initial roadmap interview, that conversation in the very beginning that really determines what your production is going to be, and then what is your mindset, what's your decision making processes on a day-to-day basis to make sure that you're going to see that thing all the way through. And that's we have guys that do excellent, we have guys that do okay, but it's not like a hey man you got to sell 10 deals every month, or hey man you got to sell 15 deals every month. I mean that doesn't work. That doesn't work. So yeah man, we just meet people where they are.
Okay, so is each salesperson kind of responsible for their marketing, or are you do handle all the marketing? You kind of send out leads to these guys.
Man, we've done both.
Okay.
We've done both. Primarily, salespeople are generally handling their marketing, right? They're generally handling their marketing. The people that are just going to go above and beyond, like we call it self-gens. Self-generated business is always going to be the most profitable business, the cleanest business, and it's going to be the easiest business, right? And so we're really teaching people how to go out there, self-generate business, get with your neighbors, get with your friends, get with your families, create these new relationships and referral partners so that you're able to have a constant pool of a business that are coming in every single day. Like, what do you want to be synonymous with is the question that we ask our people. It's like, whenever people hear Ben, what do you want them to think about? You want them to think about lawn care, right?
Yeah.
You want them to think about home restoration. Like, you want them to think about those things. And so we say the same thing to our guys. Like, when they hear your name, what do you want them to think about? Solar. Well, that means every single day, you need to be promoting your business.
Yeah.
You need to be promoting yourself, right?
Yeah.
As the solar professional, as the ideal guy, so that because the conversation is going to come up in that household, right? People thinking about solar, like it's everywhere now. They're thinking about it. They're having the conversations. I guess the equalizer is, who are they going to call? They're going to call you, or they're going to call the guy that they see ads every single day.
Yeah.
So that's why we want to be able to really give the empowerment to our guys to be able to control their marketing, control what they're putting out, and control what they're bringing in.
Okay, so just give them more control. So, are these guys then? Are they going door knocking themselves? Or are you hiring a company to go door knocking for you? Or are these guys running their own ads, or are they hiring somebody to run the ads?
Man, with this type of model, you really have the leisure to do whatever it is that you feel best, right? So we have guys that have door knocking experience. They come in, they'll just knock on doors all day long. You know, some of them don't even sell. They just knock on doors and they just want to set appointments. Others, all they want to do is sell. So they may hire some knockers to go out and knock for them and just sell all those deals.
Yeah.
Others are incredible marketers. And so maybe they know how to write their own ads. Or maybe they have relationships with other people that know how to write ads. And they hire them to just go do it for them. And so it's really no limits on how you're going about getting the business. It's more so about like, what do you want to do on a day-to-day basis? What do you feel most comfortable with? There's some people that like doing in-person, like home shows, stuff like that, you know, being able to be in person, shake someone's hand, be able to walk them through like the process in person. Some people thrive at that, but suck at a door, you know, or they maybe thrive at a door, but suck at ads. So we never want to limit anybody to like, this is what you're doing, because then, you know, they don't get to operate in their level of genius.
Okay. So for your sales reps, you kind of find these guys who are wanting to be self-sufficient, want to start their own thing. Mm-hmm. Are they still under your business, or they have like, is it like another name? It's like their business kind of.
So all of it is still going through our business. Our business is on the contract.
Yeah.
You know, for the client. If they want to have an opportunity to market themselves, then we could talk about that. Yeah. You know, like that. I don't have a problem with that. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, everything I tell or what I share with individuals when they come in, it's like, listen, I want to give you the resources, I want to give you the tools, and I want to give you the skill set, borrow my skill set, so that you can go out there and create a sustainable living for yourself and your family, right? When you leave here, because I expect you to leave, I don't expect anyone to stay for 50 years. That's not today's plan. So you're going to end up leaving, but when you leave, I want you to leave better than you came, right? And so if that looks like you wanted to start your own solar brokerage and market it as, you know, Ben Solar, great. I can help you with that. Yep. You know what I mean? If you want to stay under the name of our company and you just want to, you know, do the day-to-day, great. We can do that too. Mm-hmm. So, you know, no limits there.
Yeah. So you're really bringing these guys in. You're pretty much training them how to go out into the world and sell for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you do any selling now, or are you kind of just in the office, like typing on the computer? Or
yeah, man.
You go out still?
So my focus now is more so on working on the business, right? Like, how do we become more attractive to the marketplace? Mm-hmm. How do we position ourselves as, you know, the company to call whenever you're searching on Google? You know, how do we make sure that our culture is a culture that's going to be conducive for high-level talent, right? Those are the things that are more important to me than actually selling right now, because those are the things that are going to actually create a bigger business. I've already taught others on how to do what I do, you know? So that's the value of having people. You teach them how to do what you do so you can replace yourself, so you can focus on higher level tasks.
Yeah. So as you know, with 2024 coming, you said with the
we're here.
We're here. With the advertising marketing starting up now, and you have all the political stuff going.
Yeah.
Do you see you trying to spend? Will you see your guys, or are you trying to spend more on digital marketing, or are you gonna kind of put that to the side a little bit and go more to the physical side with your events, door knocking, you know, hosting backyard parties?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I said earlier in the conversation, I mean, with this being election year, with, you know, everything that's going, all the craziness that's going on in the world, all the propaganda that's being pushed out, there's mega companies that are fueling marketing right now and ads right now where, listen, man, I don't want to compete. Like, I don't want to compete. You know what I'm saying? We're not even in the same tax bracket, even close. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're doing well, but we ain't doing that great for me to try to compete with a Donald Trump campaign. It's not happening, right? And so, to your point, it's like, let's focus on building out networks, right? Let's build out physical, real networks. Let's be in person. Right now, we don't have to wear any masks. The country's not shut down.
Yeah.
So let's go, brick and mortar. I mean, let's go horse and buggy, if you will, and let's shake some hands. Let's get in front of some people. Let's have some events,
Yeah.
and let's have these conversations going to where we can start bringing in more new business.
Is your kind of your ideal customer being one that doesn't have any debt, that really they own everything already, or you go into these new builds too, and they want to install.
So, really, the criteria for an ideal client is an average bill of somewhere around like 150 plus.
Okay.
Right? In Ohio, specifically with AEP, their rates at a percentage now to where if you have 150 bucks or higher, we can more than likely save you a couple bucks, like initially.
Yeah.
Which looks a lot better than if you have like an $80 bill, or a $50 bill. And your solar's gonna be probably $70, $80 starting off, right? You're investing day one, so that's the number one thing. It's just like having a little bit higher usage.
Yeah.
That's one. From a standpoint of qualification, just being able to get the lending, 650 credit score and higher. You don't have to own everything, but 650, no bankruptcies, like the normal stuff. Yeah, normal stuff.
Okay. How much is your average client in the neighborhood? How much are they spending for a solar system on average?
Yeah. It really just kind of depends. I mean, you say average neighborhood. That's challenging only because it's really based on the usage.
Yeah.
It's not really based on like square footage of a roof or anything like that.
So you work with any square footage roof then? Like you just
any square footage roof, yeah. We can fit like a minimum of like 8 panels up there. We can get you situated. But with there being such fluctuations, like we can be in a very like middle ground, middle class neighborhood, but you got somebody that's mining Bitcoin in their basement, and their bills are $700, and their neighbor, they're just living regular day-to-day life, but working from home, and their bill's like $100. So like it's hard to kind of say what the average system would be.
Yeah.
We customize the proposals so that it's going to meet the needs of your house.
So you're really just looking for people who have the high usage bills. It doesn't really matter what size house or anything, just like your usage.
Yeah. I mean, because we're looking for people that have a problem.
Okay.
Like you said earlier, like what problem do we want to solve,
Yeah.
right? We're looking for the people that have a problem, and we're looking to be the solution to that problem.
You install for businesses like commercial wise?
We have commercial partners. That's not necessarily our focus. We focus primarily on residential.
Yeah.
But if there are businesses that like to take a look at solar, then we can get that done too.
The solar panels on the roof, would you expect the shingles in the area to last longer, or is it?
Well, yeah.
Like, I know, like, I'm sure that's probably a factor to installing how old their roof might be. If they need to go get a new one before you throw new stuff on. When you install the solar panels, if they have to get a new roof, what do they have? They have to uninstall the whole system, or?
Yeah, if you have to get a new roof, number one, let's back up to your original question. Is it going to protect the shingles, or is it going to give more life expectancies to the shingles? Short answer is yes. The reason why is because once you install the solar panels, those panels are now blocking any degradation to the shingle, right? Like direct sunlight, any type of debris, like anything like that, they're not hitting that area which has solar. Now, for the rest of the house that doesn't have any solar panels, that's just going to take its natural course. Yeah. But for the area that does have the panels on, is the panels are like a block.
Yeah. So when you do sell, is that a factor, like how old the roof is?
Absolutely. Yeah. There's some individuals that have to get a roof replacement prior to. Luckily, we have some lending partners that allow us to kind of do it all in one loan.
Okay, that's helpful.
Yeah, we're able to do it all in one loan, but it really just takes having the due diligence on the front end, whether that's through asking questions or physically being at the house on the day of the actual consultation to take a look and see, a couple loose shingles or any other type of degradation that's going on to assess if we need to get a roof, initially. Because you only want to have one money conversation. You know that, right? You don't want to have to come back and say, hey, man, actually, Ben, it's going to be an extra 12 grand because you need a new roof, right? That changes everything. And so it's really just gathering all that information on the front end so that it's really best experience for your client and best experience for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the future, would you look forward to maybe offer your own lending instead of going through?
Man, that's a very audacious goal.
Yeah.
Like it's one of those things where I don't have that background. I don't have a financial background, banking background, to want to start my own bank.
Yeah.
What I rather do is lock in with like really great partners that do that really well, and just let me do what I do really, really well, and let's build together, right? Like because that person that owns the bank probably knows that business very, very well. That's why they own the bank. That's why we're going to them, right? And so I would rather grow with maybe smaller banks that have that level of genius, that have really innovative products that are competing with the marketplace, and they may be able to scratch our back a little bit better versus taking on the new headache of now lending, right? Because with being in this business long enough, I've seen huge financial institutions fall, and I'm like, they know what they're doing and they fail, so I don't want to take that on. I'm good.
Yeah. So when 2020 happened, how did that restrict your business at all? Did you guys like shut down?
COVID?
Yeah.
Man, COVID was a record-breaking year.
Yeah.
That was record-breaking, which, COVID was very interesting for the world. Number one, we don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
Right? I was actually in Los Angeles when Kobe died. And that's when it all took place. Like Kobe died and the world shut down.
Yeah.
That's literally what happened. And so coming out of that, I literally didn't stop traveling. The way the business was structured was as a construction company.
Yep.
And so we're now considered essential workers.
It took a few months, but then you were considered. It took
We weren't the first group of essential workers.
Yeah.
We were like the next group of essential workers, but we never stopped working. It's so interesting because I hear all these COVID stories. People are stuck in the house. They're dealing with their spouse, nonstop, dealing with the kids all day. Like that was not my life. My life was the exact same as far as like how it affected the business, the industry. Like COVID, helped solar soar.
Yeah.
Soar. Because the other thing is when you're at your house all day long, and you're doing lawn work and you're doing all these different things, like you're thinking about what can we do? How can we improve? The other thing is you've never been at your house as much before. So what's happening to the utility costs?
Yeah.
It's going up, right? And so people have higher bills than they've ever seen before. And they're like, crap, what are we going to do about this? Let's take a look at solar.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we experienced. We were allowed to do anything for like a month or two, and then we were told we're essential. We got back out of there, and then we were busy. I kind of enjoyed it. Things were a little quicker. Customers never going to talk to you though, but all the older guys keep saying that we're going to have a worse year because of the election year.
I can see that. I mean, I haven't heard great things from an economic standpoint for 2024, but I think, man, it's really about controlling your controllables.
Yeah.
Right? Like, what can I do every single day to put my business, to put myself in the best position moving forward? What am I listening to? Like, that's another major thing for me and what I share with my team. Is like, man, we're not listening to the news.
Yeah.
Like, why would we? Like, when's the last time you heard something like fantastic that happened on the news? Never, right? Like, why would I feed myself with all of this just like hogwash every single day, all day, and we're in business. Like, man, in business, you gotta have bulletproof mindset.
Yeah.
You gotta literally be fired up every single day. And the only way you can do that is by putting in the right information, right? Like one of my mentors said, garbage in, garbage out.
Yeah.
Good things in, good things out. And so I don't even subscribe to the election year is going to make it a bad year. No, everything I've been speaking is 2024 is going to be the best year of my life. It's going to be the best year of my life. It's going to be the best year in business. It's going to be the best year in my health. It's going to be the best year in my relationships, my personal relationships and business relationships. It's going to be the best year for me spiritually. Like, that's what I'm subscribing to.
How was 2023 for you? Was it better than 2022? We you kept growing, or was it?
No, so 2023 was probably the most challenging year that I've had. Went through some very, very gut-wrenching situations in 2023. Lost a lot of money. Lost a lot. I'm talking about a lot of money. And it was really just because of me not doing my own true due diligence. We trusted some relationships in which we probably shouldn't have trusted initially. We said yes to too many things in which we probably should have said no to a few of those things. And it was maybe like a little bit of a lack of focus too on the main thing. We didn't keep the main thing. And so it was one of those years that I call a character building year.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a character building year. However, it's just like what it proves, Ben, is that we're in the game. You know, we're actually in the freaking game, and you know, failure or losses or setbacks, that's a part of success. You can't have success without a failure.
Yeah.
Jordan can't be the greatest player of all time without missing tens of thousands of shots.
That way.
He can't. You know, same thing for anybody else that does anything great. Amazon almost went out of business multiple times.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like now they're the biggest company or one of the biggest companies ever. So I'll look at that and say, okay, great. We learned. Let's make adjustments. Now let's take it another step forward.
Yeah. Are you looking to grow your current sales force in 2024, or kind of keep the same if you can grow the numbers?
I think right now it's not really more so about people, but it's more so about like how can we get more production out of the people that we have? Like how can we develop the people that we currently have even more? Like how can we take that to a next level? I mean, because if we can just raise our bottom 80%, right? A few deals a month. Let's go. It looks great on the P&L. It looks great. And so we don't necessarily need a whole bunch of new people to get that done, because with new people comes more onboarding, comes more training, more resources, more. When we can take that more and just put it back into our current kids, right? Like our current children. You know what I mean? Our current family.
Just keep helping them grow.
Just keep helping them grow. Keep helping them go. Help them get closer to their goals versus stretching yourself now and adding more calls to your day. Like, how about we just add another 10 minutes to that same call?
Yeah.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we kind of talked about, this is a serious problem podcast. Have you had would you say there's been one problem that kind of stuck out between when you started to now?
Yeah. Biggest problem was really one of the installer relationships. That was the biggest problem, man. Biggest problem. And it was one of those situations where someone that we trusted, they said, hey, man, here's an opportunity with the install partner. They can do what you need in your state. And let's roll. Like, let's do some volume. Let's get it going, and let's see where we can go. And so we did a lot of volume, and that installer, I'm not going to say any names, but they just neglected our business.
Okay.
Just complete neglect. Like we're going through sales cycle and permits are not being done. Funding is not being paid attention to, so loans are expiring, literally. Install dates keep changing without any type of explanation, right? People are taking off of work, literally, to be home for an install, and no one shows up.
Yeah.
And all those things were completely out of our control. which this then led to us being in litigation. And yeah, none of it worked out well. None of it was the biggest problem of my career.
Installer.
Installer. I was an installer. However, it's like you learn now. You learn. Now I know when I'm interviewing an installer, I'm literally going to take them through the ringer. I'm going to take them through the ringer. And the reason is because I want to take preventative measures. I want to make sure that we never put ourselves in that situation ever again.
Yeah.
And some things are inevitable, right? That's business. However, if we can do a little bit more due diligence on the front end and pay a little bit more attention to everything, their structure, their leadership, right? Their track record. What have they done in the past? Who's worked with them in the past that has had success? Who would have picked up the phone and called some of these people and actually talked through, hey man, how's this been for you? What can you say about this install company? Who would have prevented all of that?
Yeah.
And this would be a totally different conversation. We'd probably be having this conversation not in Ohio, but I probably would have flown you out to Barbados or something, and we'd be having it. But it's all good, man. We learned a lot. We're excited. We're fired up and ready for 2024. Hey, man, it's my pleasure. And I guess to your audience, tune in to the next episode. This has been great. Ben is doing something amazing here.
Yep.
You know, young and hustling, building a huge business, helping a lot of people. And so, yeah, man, happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.